Many things are still a baffling mystery in our world. Science doesn't quite yet have all the answers or all the keys to unlock the secrets of our universe. Every day, somewhere, someone sees something they can't explain. Something that we're told is not there, is not real, or simply doesn't exist. Too many reliable people tell of sightings and encounters with the unknown. The myths, legends, folklore, and old wives' tales are usually based in fact and in reality. When a witness to such a strange encounter finds no one believes them and faces ridicule from people they trust and love, they turn to us.
Sounds like it's being read. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Alabama Bigfoot Society podcast with Dorothy Sullivan, Ashley Jacobs, a.k.a. Whoopers, and Joyce Trigger Happy. We got Jeff from Mississippi. We got Snake Man from Texas, and you got sweet
Amazon
little old
woman.
me, Cat Rabbit. And, these cats got claws. Y'all better watch out now. But right now we'd like to remember the man that started Alabama Bigfoot Society, Brother Jim Smith. He's been gone now for about 2 years. And we're trying to keep his work going. And we got a big set of shoes to fill, and I don't think nobody can fill his shoes. So before we start everything, we had Joyce on the show 2 weeks ago. Dorothy hurt her ribs, and several other people were sick, so we missed last week. But so I wanted to ask y'all to forgive us, but Joyce wouldn't finish telling her story, so we're gonna open up and we're gonna ask Joyce if she'll come in and just give us an earful.
Oh Lordy, what story what did I leave y'all with? I can't remember. I've been sick since then, and I don't have many brain cells left.
Yeah, we were talking about UFOs, I think.
Yes, we was talking about those. Yeah, I did see one. I told y'all about the one that I seen and everything. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I got another one for y'all. We was just moved into this house about 30 years ago. It was over 30 years ago. And we have a big field. It's the pictures that I sent and Catherine put on the podcast thing. So I was, Mary Catherine and that, we was in here and we kept hearing something that was just, I don't know, it was just ginormous sound in this house, and it's pretty well insulated, new house, and so we run out the front and didn't see nothing, and we all run through the house and run out the back on the back porch, and I have never, ever seen this before, but it was just like these, it looked like giant planes, but it wasn't, and I wish I had my camera out while I took pictures of it and everything, but we was just all standing there amazed. There were about 5 of them and everything, but I said, that is not airplanes, that is something else. But there was 5 of them coming over our house real slow, and then we all come in the house. We sat down after we watched it as much as we could till it disappeared, and all of us says that was not airplanes. It was trying to be disguised as airplanes, but it was not airplanes. Mm-hmm. And so that about around, I guess, I was talking with my neighbor and asked them, I said, did y'all see that? And they said, yeah, we heard it and we seen it too. And I said, what did you think about it? they said that wasn't airplanes, and that was nothing that I've ever seen before, because he worked at Fort Rucker up there, and he says, that ain't nothing I've ever seen before. He says that was too weird and everything, because it just, you had an eerie feeling about it when it come over. And I just, all these UFO stuff, I believe in it, but I don't want to believe in it just like the Bigfoot. I've never seen one up close, and I've seen one from a distance and everything. And I know that they are real. Everything's real. God's got things on this earth that we're not supposed to mess with, and it's just like the Bigfoot. I don't think they intended for us to kill them and stuff like that. And I don't want to kill them, because they're not supposed to be, in my opinion, and such. But now, there was something I was wanting to ask y'all about. There was a friend of mine that talks about the little people. Have y'all ever had anybody in the United States, like overseas, and everything? There was a guy, he said he's seen the little people. I mean, teeny tiny little people, like less than a foot tall and everything. He says that we have them in the United States. Has anybody...
Well, God can create anything he wants.
Oh, yeah.
Who are we to say what's not real? You
right.
know?
And I was looking up some stuff the other day, and they said they have been sightings here recently about these little people and everything. They're real teeny tiny little people. And they've been sightings around in the United States. And so I was just wondering if y'all had, run across any stories.
I haven't heard any stories myself. But then again, here lately I've been kind of housebound.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, I've been doing a lot of my research online and stuff, and get, the unusual and stuff. Been watching they have some new TV shows out that has the Bigfoot sightings in it, and UFO, I can't even think of the name of it, UFO sightings and stuff like that, and they got ghosts and all different kind of stories together. Have y'all seen that on I have Dish Network, so have y'all seen those shows yet?
Can I be quite honest with you? I don't watch television at all. I don't watch any television.
Okay.
I haven't watched television in years. Matter of fact, there was one guy that was a friend of mine that would come over to the house, and he went and bought a television and put it at my house. He says, if I'm coming over, you're having television. Not me.
Well, I know one family that when I was coming up, they didn't have television. They had two daughters who was my age, and they always want me to come over and spend the night with them. I said, well, why don't y'all come over to my house? I got television. Y'all don't. And so, that's just the way they was raised. And then after they got about grown, then their mom and dad let them have television. They just didn't want them to go with the ways of the world kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I was also, there is another story I got about Bigfoot. My neighbor, the guy that has the property that I went and looked at, remember y'all, I was telling y'all the story about the guy that had slept under the barn, and he had pebbles thrown. They throw pebbles on top to get his attention and stuff like that. It's right in there where my sister had her Bigfoot sighting years ago. Well, anyway, this guy that owns this property, he has had, this is encounters where he has had deer he has shot. There's different sections, there's a field, and then there's woods, and then you go through and find another field, and then there's woods, and then there's a river and stuff like that. It's a pretty big piece of property. And he has his hunting stuff out and has a deer feeder and stuff like that. And he has hunt for years there, ever since he was a young teenage boy. And he had shot a deer and tracked it out. And you could see where the deer had laid and died, but something picked it up and took off with it. And he heard it roar. He heard it roar, at him or hollered at him and everything. Scared him to death. So any time that he shoots one after dark, he don't like that. He has to make sure his buddy's around to make sure that he can go with him and get the deer. And he's been down, and he don't believe in this stuff. And he has went and seen them before run out in front of him And he still don't believe them. He just thinks, if I don't admit that I'm seeing them, they're not real, kind of deal.
There's a lot of people who are that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just the way a lot of them. I can tell you, my husband, he don't believe in them, and he says, if I see one, I'll shoot it. I said, you better have plenty of bullets and stuff, because I said, if you shoot one, there's several more around.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. But I'm right now. I've been down the road, y'all, catching chickens. My neighbor sold me her chickens. She sold me her girls, and I was wanting to. And she was saying, whenever I was picking them up a while ago, she says, I got several of things I say. I couldn't understand her because my husband was talking to me while I was throwing the chickens in the cage, and her husband was catching them out of the pen, and we was doing it, at dark, and so and then I walked over to her and I said, "What did you say? You seen several what?" She said, "Snakes." I said, "Okay." I said, "I thought you said Sasquatches." I said, "I sure want to know." And everything. Have you seen some? Because they live back up to the woods and stuff like that, by the creek and swamps. Like I said, we live in swamps and creeks around here and stuff. She says snakes. Yeah. And so I was going to ask her, because I know they hunt and everything. I want to ask her some information like I do most people. They look at me like I'm crazy. Most of them says, nah. I know that, to me, everybody's got their beliefs. I ain't going to push my belief on them, and if they want to think I'm crazy, go ahead. Yeah. It is what it is.
Oh yeah.
But that's all I can think of right now.
Okay.
I'm fixing to go on a trip tomorrow with my aunt on a birthday trip, taking her over to casino. She wants to go to the casino, so I'm driving her over there, and I hope you'll have a good time and don't lose no money. Oh, I get free play. I play with their money, and then whenever it's through, then I'm through and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I just I can't. I was sitting here thinking I had another story to tell y'all, and I just can't think of it. And I'll think of it after we get through. Well,
normal. You know what? There's always next time.
Right. Yes.
Do we have any questions?
I just want to say I'm sorry for being late. I got wrapped up in the Bama game.
Oh, I got it taping. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. I was yelling, and I grabbed my phone to check and see if any of my friends that go for Georgia were talking trash. I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm supposed to be on the dadgum podcast.
Oh, now, the bad thing about it is Georgia's my number 3 team, and Alabama's my number 1. And I'm like, well, I ain't going to lose one way or the other on this game.
Well, we do have somebody on here that is new to us, Snake Man. Now, he's had some pretty awesome encounters himself.
Yes, Snake needs to tell us about the ones down in Florida, especially when he was a young boy.
Oh, you want to hear about that one?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Back when I was 14, me and Daddy used to go squirrel hunting quite a bit. We would do contests to see who could outdo each other, And one night I was hunting, and it was starting to get darker. I'm still popping squirrels. I'm going down into the swamp area, way down in there, and I'm popping squirrels left and right, putting them in my sack and going about my way. Well, I stop and I take a break, and you know that feeling you get when something's watching you or something's really close to you?
Yep.
And, well, I had that feeling. And I was starting to turn back around. I was a good couple miles out into the swamp. So I worked my way back and started making my way back up onto our land. And lo and behold, I get all the way up there. I stop for a minute. And I'm looking around because I could still feel it. And I could smell that smell, that wet fur,
that's distinctive. It's distinctive.
Right.
Yep.
And it was just following me, and I was like, what is that smell? At first I was about to dismiss it as swamp gas, because I've played in the swamp all my life and never encountered anything, you know. And I'm making my way up the to the land and everything, up on dry part, and it's just starting to get dark. I make my way up there. Dad's got a big fire going. He's sitting around the fire with my cousin and my uncle, and, you know, they had their alcoholic beverages out. You know, go figure, you know. And I get all the way up to my dad, and I go, Dad, I think I got you beat, and I held up the bag. My dad had a Q-beam flashlight beside him. He picked it up and pulled the hammer back on the Ruger Red Hawk that he had, told me to slowly turn around and not to freak out. I turned around slow and easy. All I had was a single-shot 20-gauge shotgun. And it had the bird shot for the squirrels. And I turn around and I look, and they're standing an arm's length away from me is this creature that stands about 7 foot tall. Yep. And we were sitting there giving each other the weirdest looks, you know, like only way I could describe it would be like a dog trying to figure out a whistle or a sound. You know how they tilt their head and everything. And I was doing the same thing back to it. I mean, like, what are you? And sitting there staring at it. And I just, yeah, exactly. And I reached out and I brushed my hand across the chest. It did a grunt, stepped back, looked at me again, and then ran off into the woods. As it was running, we noticed that it went from 2 legs down to 4 and disappeared into the brush.
Huh.
But here's the tricky part to this. The thing is that after this encounter, up until the day my mother and father died, this thing had been spotted going from tree to tree. Where my dad had the deer, corn up for the deer.
Yeah.
And when Daddy passed away, it walked around the house, smacking all 4 corners of the house, and it would kill any kind of creatures like bobcats or wolves or snakes. It would basically pummel them to death or crush them to death. And leave stacks for us of like rocks in certain areas. Yeah. And we kind of figured that might have been like a protection thing or something or other.
Or it's a lot of times they will gift you things. Now, things like rocks, we say, you know, they're not worth anything, but to them, it is. It's a highly treasured gift to them. They shared with you what they use. A lot of the rocks, Jim had a rock that looked like it was used as a killing rock, or, you know, to kill rabbits and stuff with, because it had a thumb groove in it.
Well, what I was wondering about, and my mother was wondering about it for a long time up until she passed away, was why in the world this thing is doing this after the first encounter? I mean, if there's this vicious and mean and all that, how come it hasn't attacked me?
Because they don't attack unless you give them reason to.
Exactly.
That's what people are not understanding is they will not attack you just to attack you. They're not there to attack you. They're there to live. They want to live, right, and they want to live peacefully.
Here's the funny part, okay?
My friend, Snake, excuse me for a minute. That's like my friend that shot the one with the rabbit, and then several years later, that same one, and remember y'all, I told y'all about he was drinking and he stood up and went running towards him. So yeah, when you provoke them that way, they won't never forget.
Yeah.
Well, here's the funny part. When I was walking from the woods all the way up to the fire, I had that, you know, that feeling. I don't know if you remember the old Abbott and Costello meets the monster type movies, where they're looking for the monster and the monster's right behind them.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those moments where you know, I could almost swear it was going to put its hand on my shoulder, and I was going to go, stay close, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was there the whole time. Now, I might be tough and brave and all that, but if I stopped to tie my shoes and saw a pair of hairy feet and legs standing behind me, I think I could pass the flash.
I understand. I really do. But the thing is, he was probably just as curious about you as you were about him.
Well, my grandmother, she was the wise woman in our family, and she thinks that, you know, it might have been a juvenile, and maybe it could sense the Native American blood that's in me.
I've wondered if, because 90% of the people that I have asked have Native American blood, if they've seen one of these, they have had Native American ancestry. So I'm wondering if that's not part of it.
Yeah, I firmly believe that. I do. I think it
and it's mm-hmm. And you know what's funny is my grandmother also hit on a very valuable point too. She said the reason the thing was guarding your family is because you two have like a kinship.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, and you didn't shoot him, you didn't hurt him, you touched each other, nothing happened to you all, but yet he went around protecting my grandmother after my daddy passed away.
I can guarantee you, though, if somebody had tried to harm you while you were out in the woods, they would have went after them because they were protecting you.
And my daddy didn't believe in this stuff until he saw it for himself. He goes, great, my son, Han Solo. You know, because he said it's like the backwoods Chewbacca, you know, and
oh yeah,
I'm like,
well, that's what my son says. He says it's like Chewbacca, and I think whoever did the Star Wars based Chewbacca off of Bigfoot. I really do.
Like I've said many times, though, these creatures are not animals; they are beings with a knowledge and compassion that oversees us as human beings.
Yeah, they have a lot more compassion and all. What you say, Jeff?
Yeah, but we're all animals.
Well, speak for yourself there, lady.
I mean, yes, but we're mammals. We're mammals just like they are.
I know. Yeah, I know. You know, I feel truly blessed, though, to have had that opportunity to make a friend that nobody else really gets to truly make a friend of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be glad whenever I can see one.
You feel chosen. You feel chosen.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's the way I feel.
And I'm grateful he didn't rip me apart and I didn't look like a jigsaw puzzle.
That's a plus.
Something similar happened with Jeff. When he saw one the next night, it come looking in his window at him.
Right. I'll tell you, I honestly think that gentleman is still with us here today, and that's been years ago. I think he's still down there, and I think he still knows we're here.
Yeah.
I believe their lifespan is a lot longer than ours.
I've always thought that. Sure
simply because not only I don't know the best way to put this, but it's not, of course, just in diet because, I mean, Sasquatch can eat whatever it wants to eat. It can have a vegetable diet. It can have a meat diet. It's an omnivore. It eats anything and everything, as far as I've witnessed and I know. But when it comes down to it, it's just I think that it's also in their DNA. It's something about them as beings that they are structured to live longer and healthier lives than us.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't eat all the stuff that's got the chemicals in it like we do.
Well,
we've allowed them to poison our foods.
I know a lot of people would go back to the whole Nephilim connection and stuff like that. I myself do not believe in them being Nephilim. I believe in them being a God-created creature, being.
Mm-hmm.
And, but at the same time, when you're really sitting there and you're thinking on it, it's just, you wish you had the answers, but then again, it's kind of fun not having them. It's like I had told everybody.
I don't believe there's a Nephilim either.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I just think that there's that, it's just one of those creations that, you know what, if we were meant to understand them, we would already, or there will be a day when we do. But I don't think there's ever going to be that day. I think they are going to be just as much of a mystery to a lot of people as God and angels are. It's a faith thing unless you have had the privilege, like, what Snake Man was saying, of having that kinship. Because when I had Big Red, I wasn't in a dangerous area. I was in a crater at a boot camp that was government property owned. I was safe. And I guarantee you, I never saw any other, animals in there other than deer and small things. But there were definitely bear in the area. But in that crater, Big Red ruled. And there was nothing bigger coming in there to his area. And, like I said, he would bed down behind the office just because I happened to be the only one there. I don't know if he thought that maybe the inmates might hurt me or something, but he made sure that when it was nights on my own, I knew he was right there and close. And, yeah, I totally agree with Snake Man on that. It's an honor. I mean, you feel super special being accepted and watched over. Like it's you're protective of your family, of your kids, and then you have this enigma that's just so blindsiding with every aspect of life, and then all of a sudden it's like it's going to protect you, and you're not worthy of that.
I wonder if there may be the bridge between the prehistoric and the modern.
It's possible.
Again, a Bigfoot, however you pronounce it.
you talking about the what are they, the Gigantopithecus? I can't say it right.
Gigantopithecus.
Thank you. That's where I was going.
Say that 10 times fast.
Look, I'm still good, proud of myself for being able to say Michele Momumbe. So.
Well, I'm a herpetologist, so I'm used to some Latin.
Now, Snake Man, you said you've had several encounters. What was your next encounter with Bigfoot?
Oh, the next encounter was in Frost, Texas. Y'all ever hear of it?
No, it sounds cold.
Well, you've heard of it?
Yes, I've heard of Frost.
Okay. It's up by Rotwall. And what was funny is I was with another group that I won't mention.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I got requested to take a team, so I had a team, and they had their team. Our goal was for a capture, okay? And they probably figured, well, Snake Man's not going to do this, he's not going to do that. Well, earlier in the day, we had located a structure that had juvenile footprints beside it, running all around the area, and a big source of water, a big old canal that led into the swamp. Okay? And, well, I had my team there, and we're going about doing our, routine investigations, trying to get casts, trying to get pictures, and, all that stuff, and we're doing our own thing there. And all I have on my hip now, and don't judge me for it, but I carry a snake stick, a knife, and a snake bite kit just for emergencies. Okay. And I'm dealing with all this, and, well, everybody else got tasers and stun guns and all these fancy little gadgets from this other team guy. And
I tell you, the more junk you carry like that, the less likely you are to see one.
Yeah. And, well, here's the funny part is, okay, one of my team members had to go nature calls. When nature calls, you got to answer. So we had her do her business, and I told her to grab the loop of my pants, I'll turn my back, And that way she had her privacy, but yet she was still safe. Mm-hmm. Okay? Everybody else was nowhere around her. She was able to do her own business. She got done. She said, I hear a growl. I said, okay, are you done? She goes, yes. I said, okay, get back into the circle. I had everybody get into a circle, back to back. Every flashlight on, every heat seeker on. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm in the front part I'm in the spear of the circle, basically. And we're sitting here doing this, and next thing you know, we saw a big old form stand straight up, right where she had just taken her nature call. Mm-hmm. And apparently she had peed on his foot.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's one of the Abbott and Costello monster movies.
What is that now?
I said, that sounds exactly like an Abbott and Costello monster movie. Peeing
on
no,
but this but here's the funny part. Okay, is that we were all still in line, and I said, okay, guys, I see something over there, and everybody shined their light that direction. But the reason I had everybody put their lights all around us is because you don't know how many's in one pod.
That's true.
Okay. And, you know, my experience with dealing with wild animals, they can come from all different sides.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny part is this thing was getting madder and madder. And you know how when a primate gets mad, they do the swing, mm-hmm. where they shift side to side and start getting agitated?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, this is what he was doing. And I kind of made a judgment call, and I sent everybody else back to the road to head to the next camp and go get some help. Because our original goal was to capture one so we could, you know, draw blood and get samples and then release it. That was the original goal. Okay? Everybody else left me. I'm standing there in the dark by myself, face to face with this thing, maybe 20, 30 feet away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the flashlight that I had on my jacket was one of those old military flashlights that has the clip on the front where you can clip it onto your shirt. Well, the battery started going dead. And I'm in pitch black, and all I can see is this thing doing that. And every step it took, I took. If it went left, I went left. If it went right, I went right. If it stepped forward, I stepped forward. And I unclipped my knife just in case, because you want to be able to pull your knife if you have to very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, I'm matching step for step, trying to keep it from getting to the road to where the rest of my team was just at, you know. My team was gone for a while, and this went on for a good while. And I guess they had made it to the camp. Nobody showed up. I'm like, what the hell did they do? Just leave me behind and say good luck? You know? About 10, 15 minutes after that, I heard a truck come barreling down the thing there. It came right into the canal, shined its lights up into where I was at. And I got a good glimpse at the thing. And instead of backing up and turning around and running, I backed all the way out, you know. Kept my back to the truck and backed out. And got to the truck, got into the truck. And she hit the gas, backed it up onto the road again, and we went to take off. And that son of a gun shot out, landed his face right next to my face into the window. It's like him and I were looking eyeball to eyeball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I told the guy when he did the debriefing, I said, I think I need a new roll of toilet paper and a new pair of shorts.
I understand that. Cause,
did he have one of those what the heck looks on his face?
He had one of those I'll get you one of those kind of looks on your face. But the funny part is you never forget that face.
Yeah.
It
will stick in your mind.
He was with the group that was wanting to harm him, so that's why he was doing that.
Well,
do what now?
As a threat. Right, Snake.
I was right in his front yard, so of course, I mean, you're going to get whoever's in your front yard out of your yard.
That's right. He didn't want you there, so he knew. He could sense what was going on.
Mhm. And it was funny is that other people throughout that area from the other teams were having the same encounters, but not to that extent of that close and that much of a personal nature. I mean, it's not every day you got a Sasquatch trying to kiss you through the window.
He was saying bye.
I imagine you was wishing you had your buddy from the other part of Florida there with you at that time. Yeah,
See,
no comment. Do what now?
Me and you get that. We get that joke.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. See, I'm originally from South Florida. And in my line of work, I'm used to dealing and handling with wild animals.
I forgot what part of Florida.
I'm from South Florida, but my grandparents owned the Gator Farm in St. Augustine.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I was in West Palm County for a while, and.
Okay, my dad was the fire chief in West Palm.
Okay, yeah, I remember you saying that because our other Florida friend that we were speaking of, I remember me and him spoke about encounters around Okeechobee, and that's where I used to go muddy.
That's where my blood brothers live.
Awesome. I still want to go back and do some research now. Now that I'm really into it, I'd love to go down there and look.
Right. I'm actually a paranormal investigator.
I do that.
And
you're going to find out that people who believe in Bigfoot, they will do the paranormal investigations because it's all tied together. It's all different than most people will say.
Right. And Joyce knows me for a long time, and she can actually tell you that I am a intuitive and sensitive that can do long-range visions.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I was talking to him on the phone, and he kept telling me, he says, some woman is talking over you. I said, excuse me? He says, yeah, some woman is talking over you. I said, there ain't nobody but my mother and me. We out here in the yard. And I said, she's not talking. He says, no, somebody's talking over you. And he goes, there's a gray-haired woman with a little bun. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, I can see things. I said, sort of like a psychic? He says, yeah. I said, okay. And he says, well, then also about, so I said, well, it could be my grandmother because she was an operator for the telephone company in this area. Because in my grandmother's house, there was a switchboard where it used to sit. And I said, I always ask Mom, I said, why is the plugs and everything here? This used to be Granny's switchboard. So Grandma, my great-granny, her name was Sydney Catherine. She was the operator. And then he says, well, and then I think, Snake, you was telling me about how you said then, well, let's talk about my grandfather because I had sent the picture. And he says, yep, that's her. And then the man that she's with has something to do with timber. I said, well, of course, because he was, that's how they met. He was working in a timber camp, and she was a cook there. And so, well, he tells you it's gospel.
And mind you, when I described her family members, I had not seen a picture until she had finally showed it to me.
Yep, I sent it to him, and he says, yep, that's her, and him, and so, and we talked the other day here, a couple of weeks ago, when it, and
like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, we did, and he was telling me, he says, somebody's moved out of your house, and I said, yeah, my sister's moved, and nobody don't know my sister got married and moved, or during this COVID, because she's the director of nurses, and she runs the nursing home, or helps run the nursing home in Geneva, Alabama, and so she moved in with her husband, and till, where she usually stays here with me and my mother, and she just got married November the 30th of last year, and her husband lives 20 miles away, and he has to travel 75 miles to his work, and she has to travel 15 miles from her at our house, so she moved out. And he says, yeah, somebody's moved out. And then he said something about, well, something else, you and your husband had a fight. And I said, yeah. He said, he's like, I said, you scare me when I talk to you because I can't hide nothing from you because you tell me everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And so when me and him talk, we have a ball.
Snake Man, forgive me if I've forgotten. What tribal descent are you?
Blackfoot and Crow.
Okay, now I remember that. See, I'm Cherokee and Creek. Now, anytime
I'm also blood brothers on the Seminole.
Well, yeah, you got the rebels there, but I just know that anytime I start, like, what Joyce is saying, you talk to her about and whatnot, and what you just said. Anytime I say something like that, or if I'm talking to somebody, if they can't flat out just say, oh my gosh, and relate, they ask me if I've been overdoing the peyote. So, I'm like, wait a minute.
Peyote or firewater.
Yeah, just, go easy on the heritage there, I mean, we don't all do it all the time. It's just, it's a ritual time kind of thing that, it's an occasional, and yes, you do get a good insight, but
there wasn't the firewater, too.
Yep, oh yeah, gotta get that.
Well, let me ask y'all something. Do y'all think that these they can teleport themselves?
Yes.
No, I don't.
I do.
I think they can do a quantum walk. Basically, it's sort of like that, but it's weird to really say. It's like a dimension walk, but it's very quickly. It's not really teleporting.
It's like they can move faster than normal.
Right.
I know what you're talking about there. Yeah.
Now, there's been several investigators that have seen and reported a green or blue-green flash of light every time they see a Squatch. That's why I'm thinking that there's something like a quantum walk or quantum run. It's because it's like a bang bang.
That's like my friend that said that when he shot that one, it was over there where the haunted place was. And I'm like, what you talking about? He said,
MIB's trying to cut in.
Orbs of light. Excuse me, what did you say?
I said the MIB's trying to cut in.
Oh, that's right.
Watch out,
they're the orbs of light.
I'm still here.
Do y'all request the same padded room?
Yeah.
I guess I think me and you can help them out there.
Hey, will you all smuggle us in some files inside the Twinkies?
Well, I can't say.
What about fireworks and Twinkies?
What? Somebody just woke up or something?
Oh, my Lord. Oh, man.
Well,
but I tell you.
Has this been fun or what?
I will say, what I find is interesting is that the Bigfoot, they can do, like I said, the quantum walk, just like, say, the skinwalkers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well,
okay.
let me tell you some of my experiences, and this has happened to me a lot, and I still don't understand how it happened. I have left my house. I live, I'm going to say 60 miles from Auburn.
Okay.
I get in my car. I leave, and it's happened so much that a friend of mine and we started documenting what time we would leave. I leave Wadley, which is the little town I live in, at 8 o'clock. At 8:15, I'm rolling in front of the hospital in Opelika. You can't do that.
Okay.
I had to be doing 200 miles an hour.
Okay.
But I am.
Question: are you a Leadfoot?
No.
I asked for the same thing.
55 miles an hour.
I think her new name should be Speedy.
Yeah, that's good for me.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Yep.
but it's like I warp from this point to this point because I think I need to be there faster.
Well, that's sort of like a quantum run. It's sort of
Yeah.
like a quantum run where you warp to a different area, which is also a form of teleporting.
Yeah. And
But-
it's strange, and it's happened so many times that it's scary.
What these things are, we don't really know. We don't know what they're capable of, where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
But what do we know about them? Right? The question we got is, what do we know about them?
Yeah.
What do we truly know about them?
Just what people have encountered and testified about what happened to them,
And exactly. And
You can't do, say they're lying because you've never experienced. You're open
Right.
to it, and if something
Right.
ever happens
Right.
to you, so well, so and so did say that this will happen, like being zapped. I got zapped a couple of times last fall, and I'd like to not have made it in the house the second time. But that's a scary feeling there.
Every encounter.
I got a story, if I don't mean to interrupt y'all. Did I tell y'all last time I was on here about the guy that did shoot one and kill one, and the government come in and threatened him and took it away from him?
Yes.
I heard that one, but not by you.
Did I tell you about the one that friend of Jim got told about? And the lady died. Her husband disappeared and everything because it was mentioned, and it was reported on the site. So we're careful. That's one reason you just be careful about what you're saying, when you're saying it, and who you're saying it to.
Well,
exactly.
The person we've been speaking about has always said if it ever happens and if he ever shoots one, captures one, whatever, his first call is going to be to CNN and getting news cameras out there and showing all that before cops or law enforcement or anybody else is involved. But I don't
have y'all, any of you ever heard of not the Men in Black, but the Men in White?
No.
You know who the Men in White are the Men in White are the ones that go in and clean up and get rid of any kind of Bigfoot sightings and stuff there.
It's like ET. If you remember,
I'm not too familiar.
The hazmat suits and everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I get you.
If you like this video, I hope you give us a like. If you like what we're doing down here in Alabama, I do hope that you subscribe to the channel. And I guess with all that being said, before the mosquitoes and flies eat me up, I'll see you next time on the next Alabama adventure, getting close to Bigfoot, and Chico and I will see you on down the road.